Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. U.S. Michigan Consumer Sentiment August Preview Looking Ahead Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID 270,076 8/13/2020 10:45 12 p.m. Sentiment in July expected to be stable near pandemic low. Initial unemployment claims and payrolls may boost confidence. Dollar remains offered close to two-year lows. American consumer sentiment is predicted to be stuck at the bottom of its pandemic range as the rising COVID caseload in several states has undermined hopes for a quick economic recovery. NBSP Michigan consumer sentiment is expected to fall to 72 in July from 72.5 in June and 78.1 in May. NBSP The pandemic low was in April at 71.8. Michigan consumer sentiment NTVForex however, better than forecast payrolls in July and a 32% drop in initial jobless claims in the 3 weeks to August 7 may have mitigated the damage to consumer attitudes brought on by the surge in viral diagnoses. Initial jobless claims and non-farm payrolls jobless claims jumped 10% in mid-July, from 1.307 million in the week of July 10 to 1.435 million on July 24. NBSP This was coincident with the second wave of COVID cases in a number of states from early June, particularly the large economies of California, Texas, and Florida. NBSP Some states, Texas included, rescinded or delayed parts of their opening plans. NBSP markets linked the two events and assumed the reviving virus was impairing or halting recovery from the pandemic closures of March and April. NBSP The higher rate of unemployment claims in the middle weeks of July had been expected to continue into month-end with a 1.415 NBSP million forecast. NBSP in fact claims fell 17% to 1.191 NBSP million on July 31. The following week, August 7, claims were projected to fall to 1.120. NBSP instead they dropped 19.1% to 0.963 million. Their lowest level of the COVID era. It now is clear that the mid-July rise in jobless claims was limited in time and amount. NBSP claims have dropped 32.9% in two reports, from 1.435 million the July 24 week, NBSP to 0.963 million on August 7. NBSP initial jobless claims. NTVForex The rise in initial claims was thought to presage a steep drop in rehiring. Non-farm payrolls were expected to drop by 2/3 from 4.8 million in June to 1.6 million in July. NBSP The presumption being the expected economic impact of the second wave of COVID diagnosis. NBSP The effect of the opening restrictions turned out to be overstated. Payrolls added 1.763 million workers 10% more than expected. Of the 22.16 million workers who lost their jobs by the non-farm payrolls count in March and April, 42% 9.253 million have been rehired by the end of July. CPI and retail sales consumer inflation rose twice as fast as expected in July. NBSP overall CPI climbed 0.6%, as it did in June, double the 0.3% forecast. Core inflation was also 0.6% higher on the month, 3 times the June rate and the July forecast. Core CPI, NTVForex higher consumer inflation implies steady or rising demand. NBSP When companies have to choose between higher prices and lower sales or steady prices and status quo or rising sales they invariably choose the latter. NBSP prices would not be rising if purchases were falling. NBSP annual inflation rates have not yet fully recovered from the shutdown plunge in demand. The headline rate was 1% in July, less than half its February rate of 2.3%. The core yearly rate was 1.6% in July, 2/3 of its February rate. Retail sales are expected to rise 1.9% in July, less than 1/3 of the June 7.5% gain. Combined with Maya's 18.2% sales in the 2 months jumped 25.7% more than recovering the 22.9% lockdown collapse of March and April. The forecasts for May and June posited just 13% over the 2 months, half the actual increase. Purchases in the control group category, which is the Bureau of Economic Analysis a consumption component, are forecast to rise 0.8% in July after Junia's 5.6% and Maya's 10.1% increases. Purchases dropped 12.4% in April, 12.4% and rose 3.2% in March. A substantial improvement in jobless claims, and good payrolls and rising CPI in July infer a better retail sales number than the current estimate of 1.9%. NBSP 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 conclusion and the dollar non-farm payrolls and the second half improvement in jobless claims suggest that the labor markets continued to higher in July and August. NBSP the monthly CPI rate implies steady or rising consumer demand. NBSP employment is the most important component of consumer confidence. NBSP the July drop in sentiment was, given the actual job and inflation numbers, quite possibly more a product of the fear NBSP of the second wave and the incessant and often misleading media coverage, than a measure of genuine economic impact. NBSP now that the second wave seems to be receding in most states, a revival in consumer confidence appears a more than modest bet. The month-old sell-off in the US dollar has been prompted by the assumed negative impact of the second COVID wave the American economy. NBSP if the total effect is a 2-week jump in initial claims and a 1-month drop in consumer sentiment, markets will shortly have to find a different scenario for the USD. NBSP NBSP NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.